Hey guys, Will and Gary here. Today we're going to be showing you some tips and tricks on installing dies on your reloader. This is going to be working on the brand new XL750, 650, and 550, so pretty much any handgun load. Gary, what are we starting with?
First, we're going to put the size D prime die in.
Okay.
And this die is going to resize the case so it holds the bullet tight and make sure it fits the chamber and push the old primer out.
Okay.
So grab this one here. It's got the pointy end at the bottom.
Perfect. And that's going to take the primer out, the old primer out.
It's going to push the old primer out. Cool. So first of all, pull the handle down on the machine.
All right.
Let go of the handle.
Okay.
Okay, now thread that die into station 1, and they're numbered on the tool head.
Well, that makes it convenient.
Thread it all the way down until it stops. It'll contact the top of the shell plate.
Okay, so now I felt it just hit the plate.
Okay.
And that washer's up. What's next?
Now, put a piece of brass, lift the handle up.
Okay.
Put a piece of brass into the shell plate at station 1, so pull that back. Okay, and pull it all the way into the shell plate. Okay, now pull the handle down, all the way down. Okay, now let go of the handle.
Okay.
And grab the die wrench and tighten the die lock ring with the case up in the die.
Okay.
What that's going to do is that's going to make sure that the die is centered in the threads so that the case is sized correctly.
Okay.
And it's not a small block Chevy, just snug it with the wrench.
Snug. Got it.
Okay. And lift the handle up.
Okay.
And the sizing die is adjusted. It was that simple.
That was really easy, actually. So now, if I didn't have the block up and I went to tighten it, potentially that could move around.
Correct, okay. Because there's a lot of slot between the male and female threads, and the die would typically tip itself very slightly, just enough that it doesn't help accuracy.
Okay, perfect. So definitely the biggest tip here is making sure as you tighten that down, it's up, correct?
Yeah, you got to have a case up in the die.
Perfect.
And ideally you want to do that when you adjust all the dies so that you have consistent upward pressure on the tool head. Okay. That way the dies will be lined up just like they would be when you're actually loading progressively.
Perfect. Okay, there you have it, guys. Let's move on to the next die. Okay, so now it's time to install the powder die.
Correct.
What do we need for that?
Okay, we have a size case here.
Okay.
So now we need to drop the powder funnel into this die.
And that is the part I have in my hand?
Correct.
Perfect. Okay, let's do that.
Next, we're going to loosely attach the powder measure to the top of the die.
Okay.
So set it on there and just finger tighten those two.
And that clamps right over. Yeah. Perfect.
Because we're going to have to adjust that die up or down a bit.
Okay. So still leave it pretty loose, right?
Yeah, because we need to be able to turn the die.
Okay, no problem.
Alrighty, that should be good.
That's good. Okay.
Okay, now let's pull the handle down on the machine.
Okay.
Case is going to push up. Okay, now let's lift up on the handle.
Okay, all the way?
Yeah. See if you feel any flaring.
Not really.
Then let's turn that die down a couple of turns.
Okay. How's that? What do you think? Like,
well, let's try that and see how it looks. Okay, so let's pull the handle down.
I felt a little more pressure on that too now this time.
Okay. And
oh yeah, it definitely looks flared.
Okay.
Gary, I think I pushed it down a little bit too much. What do you think?
Yeah, let's back that die up a little bit.
So this is pretty much trash, right?
Pretty much.
Okay. Okay, so let's try a new one.
And let's back that die up.
So back it up. What do you think? 2 or 3 full turns?
Probably turn and a half.
Turn and a half. That looks probably pretty good. Okay.
Okay, let's pull the handle down.
One more time. All right. Now it looks like we got something.
Okay.
Should we check the
case?
Let's
measure it with a pair of calipers.
Okay, cool. We're at 0.369.
Okay, so we don't have much flare on that. So let's turn that die down 1/4 turn.
Okay.
At this point, small incremental adjustments are probably best.
Well, now you can definitely really see every time you do this, you can definitely see a little bit more flare every time. 0.388.
That's pretty close.
Is it?
Let's set a bullet inside that case mouth with your fingers and make sure that the base of the bullet drops below the case mouth.
Okay. How does that look?
That looks good.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's put that case back in the shell plate.
Okay, so same spot it was?
Same spot it was.
Okay.
Pull the handle down.
Pull the handle down.
And let's tighten the lock ring. And then let's tighten the 2 clamp screws.
Okay.
And just like the last time, by adjusting the die with the lock ring with a case up in the die, it makes sure the die is centered in the threads of the tool head.
Perfect.
Then you'll need a 5/32.
Okay. Got that. You know, it definitely took us a couple times to get this, Gary, but it seems like it's worth it.
Oh yeah, very much so. This will keep you from damaging bullets as you seat them.
Yeah.
And it doesn't, you don't overflare the case so you don't wear out your cases prematurely.
Awesome. I mean, overall, that wasn't bad at all. Now we still have to install the
fail-safe rod,
fail-safe,
and
okay.
we'll have to fine-tune that height adjustment on that blue
Perfect.
wing nut. So
Should
let's
we
lift
do
the,
that now?
Yeah,
Okay.
let's go ahead and do that. So
Perfect.
while the handle's down, let's attach that.
So put that piece down. That goes through both holes.
Yep.
Now I'm going to lift the handle up, correct?
Yeah, and you're going to put that white bushing into the bracket. Okay, now to fine-tune the adjustment with one hand, you're going to hold the handle forward.
Okay.
And with the other hand, you're going to tighten that blue wing nut so that a business card barely fits between those coils.
Barely fits.
So about 10 thousandths gap between the coils while you're holding the handle forward.
I'll tell you what, Gary, that looks like a 10,000th gap to me. What do you think?
Good enough for our purposes.
Perfect. There you have it. Powder die is installed. Now we're going to install the seating die, correct?
Correct.
Awesome. Now you told me there's a little trick about this particular die.
Yes,
All
the
right.
bullet seating stem inside the die is reversible depending on the shape of the bullet that you're going to load.
Okay.
So pull that clip on the top,
All right.
slide the die out of the body, push that cross pin out.
Okay. Oh,
And
there it is.
now if you take a look, that stem has 2 different profiles. One is for round nose, which is what we're loading,
Right.
and one is for flat nose, like a hollow point or a truncated cone.
Wow. So depending on what you're loading, you just switch it out.
Switch it out,
That's
so
awesome.
it includes them both.
Well, that's definitely a really neat little trick.
Also makes it easy to clean the die when it gets dirty.
So now, question for you. What's the recommended cleaning situation for something like this?
Depends on what bullets you're using. If you're using a cast lead bullet or a polymer coated lead bullet, probably every 3,000 to 5,000 cycles.
Okay. All right.
Jacketed bullet, probably every 8,000 to 10,000.
Okay. Is there any particular solution that you guys recommend?
Just bore solvent.
Okay. Perfect. Super simple. Where's this
Okay,
going, Gary?
that's going to go in station number 4.
Number 4. Okay. And just like we did before, just thread it all the way down?
No, not quite. Here
okay.
we're going to index the shell plate so that the case we just flared is at 4.
Okay.
Set a bullet on the case.
Oh, set a bullet on it. Okay. Gotcha. Okay.
Pull the handle down on the machine. All the way down. Let go of the handle, leave it down. Now with your fingers, screw the die down until you feel it hit the bullet.
Gotcha. Okay, didn't feel anything. Back that up. Oh, okay, got a contact.
Okay, now we're just starting to seat the bullet. So lift the handle up just a little,
Lift it up a little.
and with your other hand, screw the die down 1 full turn.
Okay.
Push the handle down.
Okay.
Okay, now lift the handle up. Just go ahead and keep lifting. Let's pull that case out and let's measure the overall length of that.
Nice. All right. That's kind of cool. All right. So what should we be at, Gary?
The maximum overall length for 9mm is 1.169 inches.
Well, we were at 1.229.
So we got a little ways to go.
Yes, sir.
Figure one rotation of the die is about 70,000th of an inch.
Okay.
So let's start off by turning that die down about 2.5 turns. And it's always better to go in smaller increments just so you're not wasting components.
Right. Okay.
1.102, 1.100. So we only need to go down about 10,000ths of an inch, so down 1/8 of a turn. Okay. We are so close.
I like it. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, if we're loading different bullets, we have to refer to this manual, correct? Because this is going to give us all the information that we need on the proper dimensions.
Proper seating depth and all of that.
Okay. And this can be found
on the website, dillonprecision.com. It's also in the Blue Press catalog. Most sporting goods stores that carry reloading equipment, even if they don't carry Dillon equipment, they're going to have a loading manual.
Perfect. All right, let's see if we got it this time. All right, I'm feeling good.
1.0885, that's close enough for our purposes, because
yeah,
those bullets are going to vary a few thousandths anyway.
Okay.
So again, put it in there, pull the handle down,
okay,
and with that cartridge up in the die, tighten the lock ring.
Perfect. And now we know by doing this, it's not going to move in there. Everything will stay nice and tight.
And it'll be centered, concentric.
Perfect. There you have it. Bullet seating die installed. Last but not least, we're going to be installing the taper crimp die. Gary, where'd this go?
Okay, this die is going to go in station 5.
Okay.
Now, this is one where we kind of have a cheat regardless of caliber on how to adjust.
Okay.
So let's take a sized empty case, no flaring, no bullet.
Perfect.
Put it into the last station.
Okay.
And pull the handle down on the machine and leave the handle down.
Okay.
Now with your fingers, screw the die down until it stops.
Oh, I feel tension on that.
Okay, is it hitting the lock ring or hitting on top of the case?
No, it's on top of the case.
Perfect. Okay, lift the handle up just a little.
Okay.
And then we're going to turn that die down another 1/2 turn. Pull the handle down and finger tighten the die lock ring. Just finger tighten, as we want to double check it next.
Okay.
Okay, lift the handle up. Now, take the cartridge with the bullet seated and still has the flaring on it.
Right.
Let's put that in that last station. Let's cycle it through there and then we'll measure the crimp with calipers.
Oh. Okay, so explain to me exactly what this last stage did.
Basically, we're resizing just the mouth of the case to get rid of the flaring and squeeze the case snugly against the side of the bullet.
Okay. So, give me the magic number, Gary. What should we be at?
The maximum dimension is 0.380. We can be up to a few thousandths below that. So somewhere around 378 is probably kind of what we're aiming for.
Does 375 work for you?
375 is probably a little tight.
Really?
And the reason why you don't want to be too tight is that you can end up resizing the bullet diameter inside the case. And then when you shoot that at a target, instead of the holes being round, they're either going to be oval or sometimes you'll even get keyholing where you see the side profile of the bullet going through the target.
Okay.
So let's back that crimp die up maybe 1/8 of a turn.
Okay.
And let's make another. So we need to run it through the side, run it through all the stations again.
All the stations, okay. Okay, and out it comes. Let's see what we got. How's that? A little better?
376, we can live with that.
Yeah, perfect. Cool.
And again, put that back into the shell plate and let's tighten the lock ring with that cartridge up in the die.
Okay. Okay. So we made a bullet.
Yep. The only thing left we have to do is load primers in and then get the powder measure adjusted and be ready to make ammo.
Awesome. There you have it, some tips and tricks on installing your dies.